Hey, good afternoon, good evening, and all that good stuff. It is the 21st of April. I got a full belly. I had some ravioli for dinner. However, today we're going to talk about the sixth pillar, which happens to be dealing with financial stability. And hey, Kim, how are you? You can wave. That's all. Very bright screen. Um, anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. I have a couple different presentations I want to show you that will get some really good feedback for you guys. It's just going to get started from the jump because I don't want to waste any time. And what I have right here is my first slide. Excuse me. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. That'd be awesome. Cool. So basically, this is a refresher from the other stuff as you navigate in your retirement. As you're going through it, you have to look at understanding what your pension is going to be. It's different than your paycheck that you're going to have right now. I don't need to elaborate on it. Most of you already know that. You're dealing with your final pay plan, which is, your base pay, 2% for each year of service. So if you did 20 years, it's 2.5% for 20 years. And then you figure out your base pay at that particular point in time of your rank, and you do the math. It's not that hard. You can figure it out. You also have the High 36 plan, which uses the average of your highest 36 months of basic pay for or calculations, right? So what that means is, let's say you're in for 26 years. The last 3 years, E7, E8, E9, O5, 4, 7, whatever. If those are the highest rank that you're at the last 36 months of the average, okay? And that's the basic pay for calculations. And then there's other ones that's the Redux plan. I'm not as familiar with this. However, if you entered after the August 1st, 1986 with a $30,000 bonus, they actually reduce that, okay, and pull it out. But we can talk about that later. Also, one of the key things that most people don't take into consideration, and I believe Tampa, this area specifically, is around 2,300 a month of BAH, it's your housing allowance. As soon as you retire, unless you're living on base, which you're already losing that to begin with because it goes to the housing and they take care of your housing, but that BAH money, that goes away. $2,300 is a significant sum of money. That would literally be able to pay for most mortgages right now if you're under 400K. Then if you look at your disability pay, there's different types of it. You can get concurrent compensation plus your pension, or if you're getting a full medical retirement, that's different. You also have combat related compensation, which is a little different on top of that. You can't collect both at the same time. Just remember that. And then obviously you're getting travel and rec perks. When you're on active duty, your TSA pre-check is free. That goes away. You have to pay for it after that. Ask me how I know. Either way, you still have the opportunities for space safe flights, discounts with all kinds of different stuff, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, plus all the different parks and stores and stuff like that. And just remember, the answer is always no, unless you ask, right? So that's the first one. I wanted to knock that right out. Any questions? If you have any, drop it in the chat or raise your hand and I'll get back to you, or just jump in verbally and just say, hey, I got a question. Okay. Now I have my next slide, which is another rehash of something that we've talked about. Specifically, one of the key things that I talk about, this in particular, is in my book. Okay, if you have not gotten the book yet, feel free, let me know. I'll send you the link and you can go pick it up. And let's see, here we go. All right, I'm going to share that screen now. So think about this, okay? As a service member, the way that you've been living your life, we're told what to do. Get it done. Don't bitch about it, but if you do, bitch after you're done. But go and do and get it done and understand the experience and knowledge that you have after that, right? Well, just think about this. You have a specific skill set now that's valuable to the military. Reframe that. Your skill set that you have is unique to you, that's valuable to everyone. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, or what you're going to be doing after you're done with your military career, right? So here's what happens is we all, myself included, take everything that we've learned and we discount the things that we've had through our own experiences. When we discount ourselves, we devalue ourselves. There's no more valuable person on the planet, in my own personal opinion, than a service member. And I say that wholeheartedly because we have discipline, for the most part, integrity, knowledge, good health, for the most part, unless you're really broken, good moral compass, and willingness to work hard. We discount ourselves. I didn't even mention skill sets because that's a whole nother game, because everybody has their own little niche. But once you start doing all of these different things, I'll give you an example about myself. I was a heavy equipment operator when I first joined. And over time, as you get a little older and a little longer in the tooth, you end up getting more responsibility, especially as you pick up more rank, right? Unless somebody sees something in you that you don't, and they start tasking you with things that are of more responsibility at lower ranks. That's everything that I did throughout my career. And I know that a lot of people would, support that information because I'm not lying. By the time I was ready to retire, I had been a heavy equipment operator, a platoon sergeant, platoon commander, marksmanship instructor, company gunny, first sergeant acting, transferred over and started handling personal effects for all the services, operations, staff NCOIC, future operations, staff NCOIC, G3 operations, deputy-ish. I don't even remember what the hell the title was. Irrelevant. And then as I was getting out, I transferred over into strategic cyber planning. All that to say, I started out as a backyard mechanic from the time I was a teenager. So take all of that crap. I didn't even mention the forklifts, planes, trains, and automobiles, and spaceships and rockets and all that trash. But compress all that stuff into 40 years of education, knowledge, hands-on experience, travel, deployments, training, instructing, all that stuff. Now imagine where I would be if I continued to discount myself and not provide these services to you. What are your thoughts on that? Drop something in the chat, just so I have an idea, because I discounted myself for the longest period of time. Your military training is your advantage. It's a huge advantage. Plus that experience. And again, the key thing is discipline, moral compass, and organization that most people don't even have. I mean, think about, graduating out of college right now. Who's got organization skills? Who has discipline? Just a thought. I don't need an answer to that one, but it's just a thought. The next thing that you got to consider is translating all of the things that you've done from mill speak to people speak. It's a big difference. Some people don't get it. For instance, a platoon sergeant is a team manager. If you have a platoon commander, he could be considered a director of operations. So the titles are flexible, but it's just how you determine what it is. But with that, that's still, again, your experience, your advantage. Translate that into a decent resume, and you'll have a great opportunity. And then piggyback that off of the network that you have. Most service members will stay in the comfort zone, right? Unless you're a little crazy like some of us, you start going into more education and entrepreneurship, opening your own business and stuff like that. But I would say don't discount. And I'll reiterate it over and over and over, especially as you transition. And if you looked at my LinkedIn, I put a post up, I believe it was a week ago, that most service members take the first opportunity. They don't try to push the envelope on what their value is worth. And you end up losing that opportunity for a better salary. But you're going to need that better salary because you're getting things taken out of your paycheck, right? Mind you, you're going to have your pension, but it's not the same as having that full paycheck. And then, look at all the different pathways. You got to look at volunteering. You got to look at maybe internships, or even potentially starting your own business, like I said before. So it's just something to think about. Any questions? If not, it's not a problem. I'm cool with that. Looking forward to a few more people to jump in. It's just taking a little bit longer. We have, let's see, we got 28 minutes left, so lots of time, which works out really well because this one is a little bit more robust. And I want to share this. I have to go into a present mode, which is here, and then share my screen with you because I think this is really important. Because it really emphasizes on defining your value. Okay. A lot of it has to do with calculating the income, your lifestyle, and what you're worth in retirement, right? So, it jumped. So again, like I was saying, you have your experience, your knowledge, your network, and the capabilities. What you want to earn is totally up to you. But you have to negotiate. You have to know how to negotiate for the position, right? And like I says over here, your market value is not a fixed rate. Now, just out of that little sample that I threw out there earlier of just my experience, where do you think that value falls for somebody that's maybe, I don't know, a warehouse manager? I didn't even mention the warehousing piece of it and engineering stuff, but you get the idea. You got to figure out what your market value is. How do you fit in there? The ethics and culture of the company, do they align with you? There's a lot of things to take into consideration. So again, do not discount yourself so that you can earn what you believe is your worth and your value. But you're taking all of these things and adding them up, putting that site dead smack center to let them know, hey, this is what I bring to the team. And then let's see, come on, you can do it. There we go. So here you get, when you're on active duty, you have a specific lifestyle, right? You're working out and you're getting your food and this, that, and the other thing. Once you get out, do you want to make it better or do you want to make it less? That's totally up to you. It's your choice to make that change and how you want to live it. I know a lot of people that live on the low side while they're on active duty. And then when they're done, they've saved so much that they're actually able to improve their lifestyle. I actually know a guy, no joke, he had the same vehicle for the last 27 years. Just traded it in right before he retired and got himself a nice Range Rover. His business, not mine, but just think about all the car payments that he saved for the last 27 years. Not me, just saying. I did it the other way, which was dumb. Don't do that. All right, enough of that. We'll move on to this one. I don't know why it keeps jumping the screens here, but so if you think about this as you're getting ready to retire, what's the most important thing to you, right? You need to you want to maintain that lifestyle. Who's more important than that lifestyle, and who drives that lifestyle? A lot of times it's a significant other or spouse, a partner, kids, family in general, right? But you got joint operations. You got to communicate with the family because they are the most important pieces. Let's say you're on active duty, you're making a nice chunk of change. The wife doesn't have to work or spouse doesn't have to work. Next thing you know, you get that reduction in pay. They got to go to work. Do they have the time, the capability to work on top of you working? Say you got kids. I'm just spitballing here, so I just want you to take these things into consideration. And or let's say, because I know another guy that did this, he wanted to retire and stay at home with the kids, and the wife wanted to work. She made a significant sum of money to begin with. His retired pays the extra money, so he's at home with the kids and she works. So it works for them. It all depends on what you want and what you plan on doing with your family. So let's see how that pans out, and hopefully it works out really well for you. One click. Yes, I got one. All right. So this is the other piece of it. And I don't want to beat this one to death, but it's important because when you're on active duty, as you transition out, everybody already knows that TRICARE is okay. You're going to get VA because you probably are over 50% on average. When you have that opportunity, utilize it to the highest capability. But TRICARE is not cheap. I know that. Healthcare benefits in general are not cheap. If your significant other does not work and you don't have benefits that way, TRICARE is the way to go. But you got to remember, it's out of pocket. If you're not working and you're just thinking you're going to live on your retirement, it's expensive. It's out of pocket now. It's not a supplemental source of income like your BAH was. Okay. There are a lot of times that you can go, it says up here, gym stipends. There are a lot of companies that you go to work for that you get discounts. I forget what I think it's called Fit and Easy or something like that, that I had from my last company I worked with. And it was $28 a month, but it was access to 15,000 different gyms across the country, to include Crunch, EOS, and a couple other big ones, Planet Fitness and such. But you got to look into those, and that's part of your compensation package. If you're working, if you're not working, again, out of pocket, unless you already have your own home gym. So that's totally up to you. Just got to remember that changes big time. So some of your pre-departure logistics that you must consider, especially for me, a major purchase was a vehicle. You need to make sure that you either are prepared for it, pay it in full, or buy it 2 to 3 years prior. That way it's already part of your budget that's already been set up, that you've been working with over the last couple of years, and you understand where it's at in the scheme of things. If you don't do that, you're going to end up getting blindsided and shocked, okay? Any medical procedures that you can get done while you're on active duty, get them done. If you don't have 100% by the time you get out with the VA, it's going to be out-of-pocket expenses. You don't want that. With your debt clearance, any extracurricular activities on credit cards, if you can pay off the mortgage, awesome. If not, no worries. It's already part of your budgeting that you've already put together, right? You want to clear out the credit cards, especially the ones that are anywhere over 10%, which right now, I think they all are. I think the average right now is about 17%, which kind of sucks. But anyway, make sure that you don't have any delinquent or delayed billing. That will affect your credit, which will make it difficult when you decide to buy a house if you have not bought one already. And then any type of liabilities. You don't want to have extra baggage, right? Dump all the big rocks. Dump the big rocks. That way you can put the little rocks in there. That way you don't have to earn that ridiculous paycheck up front. Or if you're starting a business, you're not going to be making all that money up front. It takes a little while to get momentum to build out, right? Makes sense? Cool. So this asset inventory. So what I have found, based on the education, yes, a bachelor's will get you a higher paycheck. A master's will get you even a little bit more. PhD, even a little bit more. Same position, different value, right? What I have noticed and found is that PMPs provide a huge, huge increase if you have any one of the other three, because it says that you have the capability of doing the organizational management of a project. If you have a bachelor's, I would suspect that you know how to do that. I don't know. That's not my business. I'm just telling you the value that it brings on top of the value that you bring. And then on top of that, add all of the different clearances. And the higher your clearance, all the way up, between the top secret and the SCI. But then if you have other ones that are even more restrictive, more compartmentalized, the better off you are. That's up to you if you choose to do that route. If you're interested in learning more, we could talk about it offline, face to face. Zoom call, phone call, whatever works best for you. Just reach out to me separately and we can walk the dog on that one. Uh, how's that sound? Does that sound good? Everybody tracking all this stuff? Because some of it's pretty easy. Some of it's a little bit more detailed that not everybody's going to get. Okay, so as we look at this slide, you got the total compensation stack, right? So if you have X paycheck, let's just say right now on active duty, you have that full stack, right? So that's fantastic. Well, when you retire, you're getting about 60% of your paycheck. And if you're lucky, the VA disability, right? And then you have your spousal income, which brings you back up. Well, that gap up there, that gap at the top goes back to what I was talking about for your medical expenses, your new truck or car, the lifestyle capability that you want to maintain. It all depends on what you want for you. Do you want to go and buy a bunch of land and put a little tiny home on it and live out in the middle of nothing? Cool. Pension and disability would probably be enough. Spouse might not have a job unless it's remote. I don't know. But you don't need to replace the whole entire stack if you don't want to. If you're comfortable with the spousal pension and disability, cool. Live your life. It all depends on what your lifestyle is that you want to target so that you can live the best life that you can after all of the hard work that you've done and deserve. Now, all that in a nutshell, let's say you have a little bit left over. You want to utilize that to the best capabilities that you can so that you can reinvest it in yourself, your business, assets, quality of life, your kids' education, your extra education. It all depends. You gotta figure that out on your own. If you have leftover money, I highly recommend investing in yourself first and then investing in assets after that. Sometimes assets/liabilities become a problem. And I mean that wholeheartedly in a great way. For instance, you buy a rental property, right? Everybody calls it an asset. Did you pay it off? It's a liability. So let's say you buy a $250,000 second home, not a vacation home. You use it as a long-term rental or a short-term rental, like an Airbnb or something like that. If you buy a $250,000 home and you don't pay it off, it's a $250,000 liability added to your already other liabilities, your new truck, your other mortgage, education for the kids or yourself, etc. I don't need to elaborate. You're getting the point. But when you have surplus capital, don't just let it sit in the bank. Put it to work. And I don't recommend playing the stock market unless you're like Wile E. Coyote super genius. That's your business, not mine. And then it all comes down to the life that you want to live. Communicate with your family first, foremost, and up front from the get-go. And do you want to lay back or you want to keep going balls out? That's the biggest thing. And you have to be together. You have to be on the same team. You have to be in sync, in alignment with yourself, your being, your balance. And if you want a business, you focus on your inner trauma after that, and then work on this mission success with your financial stability into retirement, not for retirement. Okay? That's just that particular piece. And I hope that that gave you some really good information. I'm happy with it. If you're not, let me know and we'll figure it out, because most people, and I say most people, understand it, but they don't get it at first. So what they really want to do is right off and jump right in feet first. Sometimes the pool's empty. You got to put the water in the pool first. So as we keep moving on, I got about 15 minutes left. Oh, I'm gonna share my screen again. I got another slide for you. This is a good one. I like this one personally, because this is, in my opinion, bread and butter. It says phase one now. We've talked about this in the past. I'm not going to hammer on it. I've actually talked to people, they started at 48 months out. I've talked to people that are 9 and 6 months out. And the ones that are at the 9 and 6 months out, they're dying inside because they didn't give themselves enough time. 24 months, in my personal opinion, is the sweet spot. If you can start before that, awesome, even better. If you're an enlisted guy, and let's say you're enlisting, that'll drag you out to your 20th year, and you're not planning on extending past that, start planning your retirement right then and there, right after you do your reenlistment. It's the easiest way to get going. Because if you're at 17 years, you're done at 20. Excuse me. You end up start planning all of your retirement right then and there, because it's only going to facilitate it on the back end of the last 12 months when you're out doing skill bridge or internships, trying to find a new home if you happen to want to relocate to somewhere else from your last duty station. Just a perspective. So what's your post-military passion? And that's kind of like where I was going with that, right? Which then leads into how do you leverage all of your experience and your lifestyle and how you plan on transitioning into your civilian position or into retirement in general. Like I said, skill bridge internships or going back to school, that's your business. I want to help you as best I can. Reach out to me. We could put a system together for you, and off we go. One of the biggest things that I've done for myself, and I say it to everyone I know, and I've been really pushing on younger kids, say younger kids, 30s-ish, build your network early and often. Get out and meet people, communicate, learn how to communicate, because it is a skill set. It is not, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, how you been? Yo, what's up, bitch? No, can't do that. It's not the same. You actually have to be professional. I got a lot of red on. I got a red background and everything, the red with the black. Today, I don't know why, something just clicked, and hey, life goes on. But red usually creates tension. But I also got blue, and blue is soothing. So maybe it's a comment. Maybe I look purple. Don't call me Barney. So as you're getting ready to roll on, you start out into the next phase, which is actually after you transition, but a little bit before, because you have to worry about your VA, getting all your health and medical benefits and all that stuff all signed and allotted so that you can actually transition with no issues. You must get all of your medical stuff done before you retire. It is a must, because if you do it after you retire, sometimes the VA kicks it back. You don't want that to happen with a $50,000 shoulder surgery, unless you have another company that you're working for and they pay for it with the medical benefits you have that way. Oh, little caveat. Some companies, when they hire you, because you already had 20 years in and you're getting VA benefits or TRICARE, they won't offer you healthcare benefits. So take that into consideration. They'll offer you the 401k and dental and vision because they're dirt cheap, but the medical benefits is a whole nother ball of wax. So I'll get off that soapbox. And then you want to make sure that you complete all of your out processing. Perfect example. I'm still waiting for my fit rep from 2019. Let that sink in. So it's not a ding on me. It's actually a ding on the officer that didn't fill out my paperwork. So be it. But just remember, you got to go through and get all your admin checks and all that. Make sure you get a good, clean, corrected, perfected, audited DD-214. It is a must. And review it. Don't just sign off on it. Review it. And if you didn't hear me the first 4 times, when you get your DD-214, review it, audit it, and make sure that it's corrected before you sign it. And then, again, what's your post-service income strategy? Okay. Do you plan on starting a business? I didn't at first, but I've been working in real estate for a little while now. But I was also working full-time. I also had an opportunity to take a position overseas, which was a much more significant increase in income. Very helpful, plus having the clearance. And then I took that time while still working and put it into additional investments for my retirement. That's why I was able to retire this year, February of 2026, at 56 years old, full time, so that I could come here and do this for you guys, because it's more important to me so that I could get this out to you. Now, I got about, let's see, 9 minutes left. Are there any questions out there from anybody? If you don't want to talk, dump it in the chat. And if there's no questions, I have one more slide that I could present that will add. And if anybody wants to talk, feel free to talk. Moving on, if you want to do more, I've put this together, and this is unbelievable. You have a billionaire operating system that helps you rebuild your mind and reprogram how you think. Now, if you want access to this, just let me know. We'll get into the Veteran Warrior Rebirth School community, and this is in there. And it shows you how you can go through everything from your current mindset as an average thinker and transition into the billionaire thinker. And I am on my way because I started with the small bets and I'm getting massive wins. And I'm starting to use the leverage that I didn't really knew that I had it with my network. And right now the risk is high, but also the reward on the back end is going to be extraordinarily high. So I'm not thinking linear anymore. I'm actually thinking like that skateboard ramp over there on the right-hand side. So don't tie yourself down to being average. It's easier to 10x than it is to 2x. It's a great book if you ever think about it. If you want to learn more about that, reach out to me individually and we can sit down on a call and do that. If you have any questions, go to any one of my social media pages, less TikTok. I do not use TikTok. And grab my link for a calendar to get scheduled. We could do a 30-minute call and run through the blueprint and then build you your own roadmap to success into your retirement. That being said, I hope everybody had a great evening. I don't want to hold you up. I don't have any questions in the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop out. Feel free to reach out to me personally if you got my phone number. If you have my social media stuff, for the most part, they are all I am Bob Kane Jr. or the Bob Kane Jr. And that is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter. And there's another one in there. Oh, LinkedIn. And that is Robert Bob Kane, Kane. Most people think I say King, but it's my Northeast. But that being said, have a great night, everyone. I don't want to hold you up. Take care, and I'll see you guys next week for another pillar. And this Friday at 12 o'clock, I will be doing the Q&A based off of this specific video. Okay? Take care. Have a great night. Toodles.